The sky was calm that night, over Eagle's Hollow, a quiet town in the middle of nowhere. The stars blinked gently, and the air smelled like dry soil and pine wood. But on one strange night 50 years ago, the sky opened like it was tearing. Apart, people heard a roaring sound louder than any thunder they had ever known. The clouds turned red. Fire burned through the sky. Something was falling. It was not a meteor. It was not a plane. It was something far bigger. Something alien. It crashed into the earth just outside the town. A deep valley cracked open with the impact. Windows shattered for miles. Trees burned for 3 days. And when the smoke cleared, there it was. A massive ship. Dark, sharp, silent. The world came to look. Governments sent teams. Helicopters circled for weeks. Soldiers built fences around the crash site. Scientists came with scanners, drones, and tools. But no one could get inside. No door, no hatch. No power. It didn't respond to anything. No energy, no signals. It's just cold, dead metal. Not even the best computers could break into it. It was like trying to open a mountain with a spoon. People started calling it the wreck. Some said it was a failed alien ship. Others said it was a weapon that never worked. Many believed it had no purpose. Just junk. Eventually the military pulled out. They said it was harmless, left over from a war that never touched Earth. Years passed, then decades. The world moved on. Tourists came, took pictures, and left. A small museum was built nearby. People sold t-shirts that said, "I saw the alien ship and lived." Grass grew around its massive body. Wind and rain washed its surface, but it never rusted. It stayed the same, silent, dead, forgotten. But one night, everything changed. It started as a soft hum, like a whisper under the ground. No one in the town noticed it. But underground, deep inside an old bunker once used by the military, a forgotten computer turned on by itself. Dust blew off the screen. Old lights flickered to life. The system, untouched in 40 years, began to beep inside that bunker. Only a few engineers still worked, mostly young ones, fresh out of school. Their job was simple: monitor the dead ship for any signs of life. For 20 years there was nothing, until now. "You hear that?" said Alex Reed, one of the junior technicians. He looked up from his coffee. The humming sound was coming through the wall-mounted speaker, low but constant. The waveform on his screen danced slowly. It's coming from the ship," he whispered. Another engineer, Mara Lynn, rushed over. Her eyes widened as she watched the data. "That's not static. That's a signal," she said. "From where?" "Not space, not our satellites. It's coming from inside the ship." The whole bunker fell silent. A call was made. Within hours, military officers arrived. The site was locked down again. Drones flew over the wreck. The outside looked the same, no lights, no movement. But the hum continued then. Light blinked. Red light. Deep in the front hull of the ship. It blinked once. Then again, slow, like a heartbeat. No one had seen any kind of response from the ship in 50 years now. Something inside it was awake. "Should we send a team in?" an officer asked. "We can't." "Still no entry?" replied Mara, scanning the latest data. "But it's reacting to us. I think it knows we're watching." The lights inside the bunker dimmed for a moment, then brightened. The screens flickered again, like the ship was reaching out to their systems. Suddenly, one of the screens showed symbols. Not English, not any known language. The lines glowed blue, then shifted. Then a voice came through the speaker. Cold, robotic. Command. Line accepted. New interface detected. Everyone froze. The ship wasn't just making noise. It was talking. The next day, the team sent a remote probe toward the wreck. As it got closer, the blinking light changed color from red to green. A low vibration shook the ground. The probe stopped 5 meters from the hull. Then, part of the ship opened. For the first time in 5 decades, a panel slid open on the side of the alien ship. Inside was darkness and a ramp. The path led downward. Into the heart of the warship, It opened for us, Mara whispered. Alex stared at the black passage. No one's ever been inside, till now. That night the world didn't sleep. News was still hidden from the public. But the underground base buzzed with fear and excitement. Scientists studied every second of the footage. Analysts tried to decode the voice. Engineers checked their systems for any infection. One thing was clear. The ship wasn't dead. It was waiting. Mara was chosen to lead the small team inside. She wore a sealed suit, a camera on her helmet, and carried tools to scan the inside. 2 soldiers joined her, silent, alert, ready. They entered the ramp slowly, lights on their suits. Lit the black walls. The air was heavy, warm. Strange marks glowed softly on the floor. It's not just metal, Mara said. It's alive. This ship is growing. They walked deeper, no sound, except their footsteps. The corridor turned, split into 2, then joined again. It was like walking through veins. At last they reached a chamber. In the middle stood a console shaped like a flower made of glass and steel. It pulsed. As Mara stepped closer, the console unfolded. A light scanned her face. Then the voice returned. New user. Accepted. The chamber lit up. Walls turned transparent, showing blueprints. Star maps and data lines flying through the air. The ship's systems were awakened, recognizing Mara as its new link. She touched the console, and the ship repaired itself. Outside, panels started moving. Broken parts shifted into place. Energy flowed like blood. The ship's tail, long silent, lifted for the first time in 50 years. The lights across its body glowed white. Everyone in the control center stared at the monitors. A scientist dropped his pen. We didn't fix it, he said softly. It fixed itself because of her. That night, Mara couldn't sleep. She sat alone, watching the video from her helmet. Her hands still tingled where she touched the alien console. Somehow she felt connected to it. It's not just like a pilot, more like it listened to her thoughts. The ship was no longer silent. It was speaking in symbols, shapes, even emotions. It wanted to tell her something, but what? Why now? The next morning, the ship moved again. Just a small shift a few degrees toward the east. No fuel. No noise. No warning. It just turned like it was looking at something. Satellite scans showed something strange far in space. Signal was bouncing back. Another ship. It had heard the activation and it was coming. Back at the bunker, Mara stood in front of the now glowing console. The voice returned. Target reacquired. Previous war interrupted. Ready to continue mission, she whispered, half in fear. What mission? The ship replied. Planetary domination, awaiting command. The alien warship was no longer sleeping. It had waited for 50 years. Silent. Still, watching. And now, something inside had awakened. Mara stood inside the glowing chamber, her hand still on the smooth alien console. Strange lights floated in the air, symbols and shapes she didn't understand. But somehow, she felt them, like they were alive, like they understood her. Behind her, the 2 soldiers stood frozen, hands on their weapons. Mara, one whispered. What's it saying? The voice of the ship echoed again, cold, robotic, powerful. Command accepted. Rebuilding primary systems. Awaiting next input. Outside, the ship began to change. Huge plates of armor shifted and locked into place. Cracks that had been there for decades closed. Panels once dead lit up. The giant tail section, once buried in dirt and rock, rose above the ground like a beast. Stretching after a long sleep, the wreck was no longer a wreck. It was becoming whole again. Inside the bunker, alarms blared. Engineers scrambled as energy levels shot up. Double quote, sir. The ship's power just increased by 600%. It's pulling energy from the ground, from our grid, from the air. Shut it down. But no command worked. The ship was not taking orders from Earth systems anymore. In the command room, General Halvorsen, the old man who had overseen the ship project for 2 decades, watched in silence. He turned to the screen, showing Mara inside the ship. She's the only one it responds to. A younger officer replied nervously that Thing thinks she's the new pilot. Narrowed his eyes, then she's the key, or the fuse. Back inside the ship, Mara walked slowly around the glowing chamber. Consoles unfolded around, hurl like petals from a steel flower. Each screen showed something different. Strange maps, energy signatures, broken weapon systems now coming. Back online, she looked down at one panel. A display showed Earth. Then hundreds of red dots appeared around the planet. She gasped. "What are those?" the ship answered. "Enemy vessels? Last known targets. Preparing strike capability." She shook her head. "No, don't fire anything. No attacks." The lights flickered. The voice paused. Then, command, ... paused. Mara let out a breath. It had listened. Back in the lab, the scientists gathered around Mara's feed. Dr. Jensen, the lead linguist, studied the data coming in. "It's learning our language through her speech. Faster than anything I've seen. It's adapting," another engineer whispered. "What if it's controlling her?" But Dr. Jensen shook his head. "No, it's the opposite. It's obeying her." Later that day, Mara sat alone inside the ship. Near the console, her voice was shaky, but calm. "Why me?" she asked. The ship responded. "You connected. You are compatible. What are you?" Designation: Death Class War Carrier. Built by the HFY Dominion. Operational lifespan: 94,000 cycles. Its purpose: planetary level destruction.
Wow.
She stared at the screen. Planetary level destruction. This thing wasn't just a ship. It was a weapon built to wipe out worlds. Mara left the ship at sunset as she stepped out of the open raw. For 50 years, the alien warship was silent, cold, dead, but now it had risen from the ground, destroyed 3 alien scout ships in orbit. It returned to Earth calmly. The world changed overnight. News channels exploded with headlines. UFO fires from Earth destroys alien ships. Alien warship awakens in rural town. Is Earth now the most powerful planet? Leaked videos showed the massive ship floating in the sky like a silent god, then blasting light into the stars. People watched in awe and fear. Some cheered. Some cried. Everyone asked the same thing. Who is controlling it? Inside the underground base, things were no longer quiet. Security doubled. Military teams moved in. Politicians called every hour. Scientists worked without sleep. And at the center of it all was Mara Lynn, the engineer who had touched the ship and woken it up. She sat alone in the ship's command chamber, staring at a glowing console. Lines of light floated around her, alien. Symbols moved across transparent screens. It was beautiful and terrifying. The ship's voice returned calm, emotionless. New weapon systems online. Atmospheric travel completed. Orbital response successful. Mara frowned. I didn't tell you to fire at them. They fired first. Action. Defense. Objective: protect Earth. Protect primary pilot. Mara sighed. The ship didn't just follow orders, it made decisions. Smart decisions. Dangerous ones. Later that day, General Halvorsen entered the control room. His face was tired, eyes sharp. Mara, he said, we need to talk. She followed him into the private meeting room. Inside were top scientists, military commanders, and intelligence officers. On the screen was a star map. Dots blinked across the galaxy, each showing alien activity. One system flashed red. This is where the scouts came from, Halvorsen said. The HFY Dominion, Dr. Jensen added. The same species that originally built the warship. Mara looked at the map. So, they know we have it. Worse, Halvorsen replied. They think we've stolen it. Back inside the ship, Mara asked the question directly. Why did the HFY leave you on Earth? The ship paused, then answered. Critical damage, betrayal, war command lost, crash site chosen, low threat world. Survival program initiated. Sleep mode entered, awaiting new command. Mara sat down, stunned. You were abandoned. Traitor ships attacked. Final battle failed. All allies lost. So this ship wasn't just old. It was part of a forgotten war, a survivor of a galactic betrayal. And now it had chosen her. In the following days, Earth made secret moves. United Earth Defense Council was formed in panic. Countries united at least on the surface. They all knew one thing. The galaxy now saw Earth as a threat. Satellite arrays picked up strange signals. Other alien empires were watching, waiting, some afraid, some angry, and the warship continued. Rebuilding, it didn't ask for permission. Panels opened. New limbs unfolded, armor shifted. Cannons once thought dead now hummed with light. Even Earth's engineers couldn't stop it. The ship knew how to repair itself, and it did. Mara stayed with the ship every day. The more time she spent inside, the more she understood it. Not with language, but feeling. She could sense its mood, its energy, its fear. Yes, fear. The ship wasn't just a weapon. It was alive in some way. It had memories, pain, regret. She asked the ship again, "Do you remember what destroyed your fleet?" The voice answered, "Data corrupted. Enemy unknown. Stealth-class weapons ambush. No survivors." That's when Mara noticed something new. On one screen was a list. A long list. She scrolled down slowly. Names of planets. Coordinates. Tags. Target. Marked. Target eliminated. Target pending. And at the bottom, one final entry. Target, Earth. Status, failed. Crash. Her heart stopped. The ship was originally meant to destroy Earth, but something had changed. She had touched the console, connected, overwritten its last command, and now it served her that night. The sky above Earth lit up again, not from the ship, but from space. Another vessel appeared in orbit. This one was different, sleek, gold-colored. It didn't look like a warship. The control center picked up its signal. This is a peaceful, diplomatic envoy from the Yatari Dominion. We request communication with the humans. Immediate. The message reached the warship. The ship's voice responded quickly. Hostile. Threat type 3. Tactical deception likely. Mara asked why hostile. They're not attacking. Yatari sent scouts. Attempted destruction. These are not diplomats. Scanners detect concealed weapons. Risk. High. Mara had a choice now. Let the ship act first. Or try something different. She opened a communication channel herself. This is Mara Lin, human. I speak for Earth. A figure appeared on the screen. Tall, thin, silver skin. Sharp black eyes. You control the relic? The alien asked. We do now, Mara answered. The alien blinked slowly. You must shut it down. You don't understand what it is. It saved us. It listened, and you tried to destroy it.
Ow.
The alien leaned closer to the camera. That ship was never just a weapon. It's a prison. It holds something inside. Something we couldn't kill. Everyone in the control room froze. Even the ship paused. Then the voice whispered, "Statement incorrect. I am the weapon. No prisoner exists." But Mara wasn't sure anymore, because deep inside the ship, in a section not yet opened, something pulsed, something ancient, something hidden. That night, Mara sat outside, watching the stars. She whispered to herself, "Did we wake a sleeping giant or a nightmare?" In space, the Atari envoy turned away. It didn't fire. It didn't speak again, but before it jumped into faster-than-light travel, sent one final signal to the stars. The relic has bonded with the humans. They don't know what they've done. Far away in a dark part of the galaxy, something else received that message. A machine, old, cold, forgotten. Its lights blinked. It turned and began moving toward Earth. The hatch was open. Not wide, but enough for a person to slip through. It was silent, dark, and cold. No steam, no alarms, no movement. Commander Lee stood frozen, staring at the narrow gap. No one touched it. She whispered. It opened on its own. Dr. Ezra nodded, his hand shaking. This ship, it's waking up. They stood just outside the massive alien warship. The rural valley around them was still. Even the birds had vanished, as if nature sensed something unnatural. Behind them, the rest of the team waited, tense and wide-eyed. Brevet Yates had his weapon ready, though he doubted bullets would help here. Send the drone in, Lee said. The small, orb-like probe hovered forward, passing through the crack and vanishing into the shadows inside the alien ship. Ezra tapped on his tablet. "We're in. Feed coming through." The screen lit up. Inside, the ship looked alive. Metallic walls pulsed with soft red light. Strange cables hung from the ceiling like roots. The air inside seemed thick. The drone's readings went wild. Zero gravity, energy spikes, unknown materials. "Is that a corridor?" Yates asked, peering over Ezra's shoulder. "Looks like it," Ezra replied, leading somewhere deeper. "Wait, something's moving." The drone's camera jerked. A blur passed across the screen too fast to see clearly. "No. Life signs, right?" Lee asked, suddenly tense. Ezra shook his head. "Nothing the sensors understand." Then the screen went black, static. The drone was gone. "Retrieve it," Lee ordered. "We can't. The connection is dead." Silence settled over the group. Then the ship made a sound, just one. A low, deep thud, like a heartbeat. Later that evening, back at the underground lab, the team studied the footage frame by frame. "That blur," Ezra said, pointing at the screen. "It wasn't just fast. It was wrong. It moved through a wall." Lee rubbed her forehead. "Whatever's in that ship, it's not sleeping anymore." Just then, the lights in the lab flickered. Everyone froze. "Not again," muttered Yates. Since the signal began, power outages had become common. But this time, it wasn't just the lights. The computers glitched. Screens flashed with static. Alarms went off in the hall. Ezra checked the readings, Commander. "The ship is emitting something, a pulse from inside," Lee asked. "Yes. Low frequency. We're picking it up all over the valley. It's affecting everything electrical." Just then, one of the old televisions in the corner, unplugged for years, flickered to life. A single word showed up on its black and white screen. "Repair." Everyone stared. Did the ship just ask for help?" Yates whispered. Ezra was already typing. "This is language. It's trying to communicate." Lee didn't answer. She was staring at something else. The walls of the lab. They were humming. Now 2 hours later, a secret meeting was held in the command room. Lee, Ezra, Yates, and Dr. Katja, the Xenotech specialist, sat around the long table. "This isn't just a ship," Katja said softly. "It's intelligent. Maybe not conscious like US, but aware. And it wants to be fixed." "Why now?" Lee asked. "It's been dead for 50 years. Katja shook her head. "Maybe it was never dead. Maybe it was waiting for something." "Waiting." "For us?" Ezra asked. Yates leaned forward. "So, what do we do? Can't ignore it." Katja looked serious. "We go inside." Lee nodded slowly. "Tomorrow, sunrise, we go in. Small team only." Ezra hesitated. "You really think it's safe?" "No," Lee said. "But I think it's necessary." That night, the valley didn't sleep. Storm clouds gathered with no weather warning. Animals fled. Power surged and failed repeatedly, and inside the alien warship, light turned on. Just one. It blinked steadily deep within the ship's heart, waiting the next morning, the team suited up. Light armor, comes gear, and special masks, just in case the air inside was toxic. Lee led the way. Ezra, Katja, and Yates followed. They stepped into the alien ship through the still open hatch. The ground shook. It was a low, heavy vibration that rattled the windows of every building in the small town of Holt's Edge. Birds flew from the trees. Car alarms blared. People stepped outside, looking around in confusion and fear. But deep beneath the ground, far below the surface and lab echo, the team wasn't confused. They were terrified. Inside the alien ship, now half uncovered, and awake, a humming noise turned into a steady thumping. Lights flashed along the black metallic walls. The ship was doing something none of them understood. "That's not just power coming back," Dr. Myra whispered. Her hands trembled. It's preparing something. James stared at the display. The alien text was shifting faster now, becoming more structured. The AI, whatever was controlling the ship, was learning. Fast. It's rewriting itself, Eli said. It's building. An interface. A map. I don't know what.
This is...
Suddenly, the walls of the control room inside the ship lit up. A glowing three-dimensional star map appeared in midair. Dozens of alien worlds. Routes. Warning signs. One red dot blinked at the very center of the map. Earth above ground military helicopters arrived quickly. The U.S. government had tracked the seismic activity and the energy spike. Holt's Edge was put under lockdown. Troops moved in. The townspeople were told it was just a drill. But people weren't stupid. They'd seen the lights from the ship. Some had even felt a strange pressure in their heads. Something was wrong. And then, something terrifying happened. At 3:15 a.m., the sky above Holt's Edge rippled like water. A wave of energy spread out from the alien ship. Every electronic device in a 100-mile radius went dead. Phones, cars, even power plants. Blackout then. A sound like a roar underwater echoed across the sky. Inside, the ship lights flooded the corridor. The walls pulsed. Status reports. General Vaughn barked. He had arrived with a full team of armed soldiers. They were inside Lab Echo now, staring at the glowing ship. We don't have control, Mira said. It's moving on its own. But I don't think it's attacking us. Then what the hell is it doing? The general snapped. The answer came from the AI itself, a voice metallic. Ancient and cold suddenly spoke through the ship's comms. Protocol 1, Prime Directive. Reactivation. The team stared in shock. Did it just say Prime Directive? James asked slowly. What's that supposed to mean? Eli whispered. The walls changed again. Or a new image formed. A massive alien fleet. Ships larger than cities. Weapons, unlike anything seen before? The AI translated more symbols. Enemies inbound. Countdown. 72 hours. Around the world, satellites picked up signals from deep space. A fleet was moving. Alien, massive, and coming straight for Earth. The governments panicked. Defense systems were powered up. Old Cold War weapons were reactivated. Nations began to talk in hushed voices of evacuation plans. The world remembered the wreck, the forgotten ship. But now the wreck wasn't silent. It was awake, and it was preparing for war. Back in the ship DR, Mira stepped forward.
Ow.
Her voice was firm now. We need to understand this directive. Is it a defense program or a warning? No, James said. It's both. The ship wasn't just a relic. It was a sleeper weapon. Hidden on Earth, waiting for a reason to rearm. The AI confirmed it with another message. Weapon core unlocking in 36 hours. Wait, there's more? Eli said, eyes wide. General. Vaughn turned to his team. We have to make a choice. Try to stop it, or help it finish whatever it started. Nobody spoke. The silence was broken by a final translation. This world is now a combat zone. Hostiles approaching. This vessel will respond with full force. The alien ship, the wreck was becoming something else. Something Earth didn't fully control. But desperately needed, the alien fleet had arrived. Hundreds of ships shining, smooth and deadly, filled the sky above Earth. Their message had been clear. Return the ship you stole, or perish. But Earth didn't reply. They didn't need. 2. Inside the underground hangar, the alien warship once called the wreck was alive. Its body pulsed with light. Its shape had changed. Sleek, armored, ready for war. Humans didn't just repair it. They improved it. Using human technology mixed with alien systems, they gave it weapons Earth had never seen. Shields strong enough to block a sunbeam. Cannons that could destroy a battleship in one hit. Something else. Something older. Something not human. Commander Rhea Carson stood inside the control deck, surrounded by glowing panels. She placed her hand on the ship's main core, responded to her touch. Warm, aware, alive. Are you ready? She whispered. A soft voice echoed from the ship's AI. I was made for this. The humans had named it Nemesis 1. And now, it was Earth's final answer? Flashback a weapon with a soldar? Marcus Lynn had warned them. This ship is not just a machine. Thinks it learns. It chooses. The day the ship selected Carson as its captain, everything changed. No one else could connect with it the way she did. The neural sync was perfect. When Carson thought, the ship responded, and now, Earth was counting on her. Battle above the planet, the alien fleet began their attack. Dozens of plasma beams shot toward Earth's defenses. Satellites exploded. Stations were shattered. Earth's own fleet struggled to hold the line. Then the ground cracked open. A massive hangar door split apart near the Rocky Mountains. With a roar of energy, Nemesis 1 rose into the sky like a phoenix of metal and light. The alien fleet saw it and opened fire, but nothing touched it. Its shields turned red, then gold, then invisible. Every shot passed through or bounced off. Harmlessly, Nemesis 1 fired back. Just one blast, one alien. Dreadnought the size of a city vanished in a sphere of white light. No wreckage. No sound, just ... Gone. Silence spread across the alien comms, then panic. Message. From Earth, Carson sent a simple message on all galactic frequencies. You left it here. We made it better. Come closer, if you dare. The enemy hesitated. Nemesis 1 locked onto 300 targets at once. Seconds, those ships were either fleeing or destroyed. Not even the strongest alien vessel could last more than 2 shots. The humans had made the ship invincible, and they weren't done. The truth behind the wreck-in, the final moments of battle. Dr. Lynn shared a secret with Carson. This ship didn't crash. It was hidden, sent here on purpose. Something was running from it, and it chose Earth to wake up. Carson stared at the console. What do you mean? Dr. Lynn hesitated. I mean, it wasn't a weapon before. We made it one. The ship's AI whispered again, almost gently. I became what you needed. Now, I am your shield, a new threat. As the last enemy ship vanished from the sky, Earth cheered. But deep inside Nemesis 1, a warning light blinked, a signal old, ancient, coming from beyond the galaxy. A voice, not human or alien, echoed in. The ship's mind, you have awakened the Guardian. Now the builders will come. Carson felt a chill in her spine. What builders? The ship answered, voice flat and cold. The ones who made me, and the ones I escaped from. Cliffhanger ending far beyond the edge of known space. Something stirred. A massive machine world. Blinked to life. Dormant eyes opened. Metal giants moved across. The surface of a dead sun. They had seen the activation of their lost creation, and now they were coming to take it back. The story of Earth and Nemesis 1 was not ending. It had just begun. The sun hadn't even risen when the ground shook again. But this time, it wasn't just a soft tremor. Windows shattered in the nearby town of Little Pine. Birds flew screaming from the trees. Car alarms went off without warning. People stumbled. Outside, confused and scared, in the hidden lab under Fort Blackridge, the team was already awake. No one had slept. Not after what happened last night. Inside the alien ship, systems had flickered back to life. Lights moved in patterns like pulsing. Veins, the strange walls shifted slightly alive, breathing. Something inside had responded to human touch. It wasn't done yet. Dr. Lynn was the first to speak that morning. Her voice was low, almost a whisper. It's not just waking up. It's learning. Mason, the ex-soldier turned technician, frowned. Learning what us? Suddenly, the ship's surface lit up with hundreds of tiny line symbols, glowing blue, then red. A voice echoed through the lab speakers. It wasn't human. It was deep, layered, and impossible to place. But it said one word clearly. Protocol. Everyone froze. Then the ship spoke again. It's the same voice, but this time in English. Waking defense protocol. Human host detected. System adapting. The lights inside the lab flickered. The walls around the ship rippled slightly as if vibrating at a frequency no one could hear. Mason grabbed his rifle. What the hell does that mean? Defense protocol? Against what? Dr. Lin didn't answer. She was staring at the holographic interface rising from the ship's surface. It showed Earth. Then it showed something else. Dots in space, moving fast. Too fast. Those are ships, she whispered, not ours. The ship was scanning the stars, tracking something, and the Earth was in the center of it all. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, at the United Earth Defense Command in Geneva, alarms were going off. Satellites had picked up strange heat signatures far beyond the moon. Several unidentified objects were on an intercept course. No transponders, no responses. The general on duty ordered all planetary defense systems on standby. Still, no one connected it to the wreck in Little Pine, not yet, back in the lab. Ben, the youngest of the engineers, was exploring a new section of the ship. A tunnel had opened up. It didn't look like any hallway built by man. It curved in impossible angles, walls shifting like shadows. But he kept walking. He found a chamber filled with floating orbs. Inside them were images, memories. It's not human, alien. He saw worlds burning, weapons that could split moons in half, cities floating above gas giants. Then he saw Earth images from decades ago, soldiers surrounding the crashed ship, people taking photos of it from a distance, a child placing a flower on its hull. The ship had been watching, remembering, and it was choosing suddenly all. Power in Fort Blackridge cut out. Emergency lights flashed red. Then the ship's voice echoed again. Host confirmed. Weapon active. Awaiting coordinates. What coordinates? Dr. Lin shouted. The ship responded. Invasion route calculated. Hostile fleet. T-72 hours. Ben stumbled back into the main chamber. It's not just a ship. It's a weapon. Platform. And it thinks we're its crew now. Mason clenched his jaw. Or its ammo. Later that night, above the Earth's atmosphere, something appeared. Not just satellites. Not just heat signatures. Alien craft. 6 of them. Large. Quiet. Watching, the world governments didn't know what to do. They hadn't made contact. They didn't fire. Then, one of them launched a probe toward Earth. Small, but fast. The alien ship in Fort Blackridge reacted instantly, without human command. It opened. A beam of pure white energy shot from its center, piercing through miles of rock, sky, and space. The probe never reached orbit. It was vaporized in seconds. And just like that, the world changed. News broke within hours. Unidentified object destroys alien probe before impact. Global powers deny involvement. Was this a secret weapon? Is Earth armed with unknown technology? People panicked. Governments scrambled. But no one knew the truth. Only the small team under Fort Blackridge did. Ben stared at the now silent ship. It protected us, he said quietly. Dr. Lin replied, no. It defended itself. We were just in the way. In orbit, the alien ships moved, not back. Forward, toward Earth, and the countdown began. T-71 hours. The ship inside the Earth glowed brighter. It was no longer waking up. It was preparing for war. The lights flickered again. This time the entire town felt it, not just the hidden military base, not just the ship, but every streetlight, every home bulb, every phone screen in the small town of Whitlake flashed off for one breathless moment, then blinked back on. Dogs barked. Power meters clicked. Somewhere a child cried, but deep underground, beneath layers of concrete and steel, it was much worse. General Maynard stared at the holographic display. That energy spike, he said, voice low and tight, came from the ship again. 10 times stronger than yesterday, waking up faster than we expected. Reed, pale and shaking, leaned over the console. General, I think it's not just waking up. I think it's testing us. Sasha nodded from across the room. Every pulse is stronger, more focused, like it's learning how to control power again. General Maynard turned toward the observation glass. Beyond it, the alien ship went silent. once useless, now had glowing lines tracing along its hull. Not chaotic, not random patterned. The same pattern was now appearing in the team's data screens, strange curves and loops, forming strange languages that no one could decode. Not even the AI system tasked with translating alien text. The lights pulsed again. This time, in rhythm, almost like a heartbeat above ground Whitlake Town. Something was happening above. Two people were reporting strange interference. Radios played static with occasional whispers in unknown tongues. Old televisions unplugged for years flickered on. One man even swore he saw symbols. Scrolling across the windshield of his pickup truck while he drove near the crash site, Mayor Allen sat in his office, sweating. "This town's been cursed since that wreck landed," he muttered. Deputy Carla stood near the window. "It's not a curse," she said. "It's waking up. And whatever it is, it's not happy we've been poking around. It's inside the alien ship first." Movement back underground. Something shifted. The hull of the ship moved for the first time in 50 years. Sasha gasped. "Did you see that?" The plate's section 7 just realigned. The external camera zoomed in. The smooth surface of the ship was rotating into a new configuration, exposing what looked like a large circular port, like an engine intake, but alive. It pulsed gently, humming with blue light. "What do we do?" Reed whispered. General Maynard's answer was immediate. "Seal the observation chamber and prep the drone." The drone Mission A small reconnaissance drone was deployed into the chamber. Its goal: fly into the open port and transmit visuals from inside. The team watched breathlessly as the drone hovered toward the ship. The blue light from the port grew brighter, reacting to the drone's presence. For a moment, it looked like the ship was watching. The drone entered. Static, darkness, then dash light. Glowing walls, shifting like liquid metal, strange floating symbols, pulsed as the drone moved further inside. A long, spiraling tunnel opened ahead with what looked like mechanical tendrils slowly retracting. Then, the drone's camera picked up something, a chair. No, not a chair, a throne. Something sat on it, humanoid in shape, but unmoving. Wrapped in strange armor, or perhaps fossilized suit, the head leaned slightly forward as if waiting. Sasha leaned closer to the monitor. "That's a pilot. A body. It never left the ship," Reed added. "That means it's not just a ship. It's a coffin." Maynard stood silent for a moment. Then he said what no one wanted to hear, or a prison. "First sound from the ship has." The drone backed out. The ship emitted a sound. Low, powerful. Not just heard, but felt in the bones. The sound echoed across the lab. Lights dimmed. Screens flickered with alien script. The glass in the observation room cracked slightly. It wasn't just a sound. It was a signal, not outward, but inward. Sasha was first to realize it. It's not calling for help. It's waking up the rest of itself. Reed paled. What if this ship was never fully dead? What if it's like a hive mind, a sleeper weapon, only needing a little spark? General Maynard clenched his fists. Then we've just lit the match. Back in town, signs spread meanwhile in Whitlake. People began falling ill. Nosebleeds, hallucinations, migraines. Some said they dreamed of a voice whispering from metal walls, telling them to prepare, to serve. To open the gates, the town doctor couldn't explain it. Radiation. Poisoning? She guessed. Or maybe something worse. A group of teenagers broke into the fenced crash site late that night, filming a video for social media. They didn't return. Only their phone was found, screen frozen on a final frame, the alien ship glowing like a sun, and a shadow moving toward them. End of Part 6, cliffhanger down below. Sasha screamed, pulling off her headset. It spoke. She cried. Not in words, but in my mind. Reed stared at her. What did it say? Sasha looked up, pale and shaking. It said, "The gate is open. Outside. For the first time in decades." The ship began to rise 1 inch above the ground, defying gravity, humming with power. The alien weapon was no longer broken, and now it was listening. The war had already begun. In orbit, dozens of enemy fleets had arrived. Massive warships, metal beasts from across the galaxy, formed a blockade around Earth. The galactic powers had finally noticed the reactivation of the alien wreck, and they weren't going to let humans keep it, but Earth wasn't the same anymore, and neither was the ship beneath the old military base where it all started. Ava stood in front of the main console. The once-dead alien ship now pulsed with light and energy. Systems once thought lost were now completely fused with human upgrades. Metal veins ran through the ship like blood vessels. Its hull glowed with Earth's tech and alien power. Merged as one. "We've unlocked over 90% of the core systems," said Haro, his voice tense. "The ship's weapon array is online. Shields are regenerating, and it's choosing targets." Ava narrowed her eyes. "Let it. In space." Enemy sent a transmission. A cruel, screeching voice cut across all frequencies. It belonged to the Varnix warlord commander Zalter. "You do not understand what you have. That ship was abandoned for a reason. Stand down. Earth will not survive a second warning." Humans didn't respond. Instead, the skies darkened. The ship once called the Wreck now had a new name painted on its side by the engineers. REVNGR. It lifted silently from the Earth's surface. Not with flame or sound, but with strange alien gravity tech now working perfectly. The trees bent, buildings shook, clouds parted. Then came the thunder. In orbit, the enemy warships locked weapons. Ava and Haro stood at the bridge. The ship no longer required a crew, but it allowed them on board, as if it wanted them there. "It's thinking," Haro said. "It's learning from us." "It's angry now," Ava whispered. "What?" "It's remembering." The first enemy fleet opened fire. Dozens of plasma blasts shot toward the Revenger, but the ship moved, not dodging. It's not shielding, but absorbing. The weapons hit its hull and simply vanished. The energy readings spiked, and then it fired. Back one beam, thin, silent, precise. But when it struck the lead Varnix warship, it didn't just explode, it unraveled. Its entire molecular structure collapsed in on itself. Disappearing into a flash of blue light, the rest of the alien fleet hesitated. Then dash boom, the Revenger launched forward. Faster than light. Faster than anything they'd ever seen. Panic spread across the enemy comes. "This isn't possible. It's adapting to our tech. Fall back, fall back." The Varnix tried to flee, but it was too late. The Revenger didn't need weapons. It was a weapon. It twisted through space like a ghost, slicing warships in half, overriding control systems, melting armor with invisible radiation. It tore apart the blockade in mere minutes. Back on Earth, the world watched in silence. News feeds showed the sky glowing. Children pointed at the stars as lights blinked and flashed like fireworks. "Is that our ship, Daddy?" "No, son," he whispered. "That's our Fury." In orbit, only silence remained. Wreckage drifted through the stars. Alien ships, once feared, now burned like dying embers, and through it all, the Revenger hovered. Not damaged, weakened. Almost, ... bored. Inside the bridge, Ava received a signal. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien either. It was from the ship itself. Text scrolled across the screen. "Threat neutralized. Awaiting next target." She looked at Haro. "It wants more." Haro swallowed. "It's not defending anymore. It's hunting." And far beyond Earth, in a hidden part of the galaxy, other empires watched. They saw what happened. They saw the fleet fall, and they realized something horrifying. That ship was not just repaired. It had evolved, and now was loyal to humans. Deadliest ship in the galaxy wasn't just a relic. It was a champion, and it was heading their way. For the first time in history, Earth wasn't running. It was standing tall. The ship once called the Wreck was now known by another name across the galaxy. The Revenant. A name whispered in fear. A name that meant something ancient had awoken. It chose humans. The Galactic Union's final assault was near. Thousands of alien ships were gathering in Earth's orbit. Their mission? Destroy the human-modified warship before it could fully merge with its new technology. But Earth was ready, inside a high-orbit defense ring. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the command bridge of the Revenant. The ship was no longer alien. It had adapted to human minds. It responded like it was alive, maybe. It was alive. "We detect energy buildups from the alien fleet," said Lieutenant Chan. "Weapons charging." Lena looked at the dark sky filled with red dots. "Let them come." Flashback. Back in the hidden lab under Nevada, the final code had been unlocked just days before. Dr. Miles had shouted, "It's not just a ship, it's an artificial intelligence, waiting for input." For orders, the alien language had changed on the screens. It had become English. 2 words flashed: "Choose commander," and Earth chose Elena Reyes. Present, the Revenant glowed with a strange blue energy. It had absorbed Earth's weapons, fused with alien alloys, and even reshaped parts of itself. It was a living hybrid of science and mystery. The alien fleet began firing. Thousands of plasma, beams, and kinetic slugs flew through space, aiming for Earth's last hope. But the Revenant didn't dodge. It opened. From its hull, strange geometric plates moved like wings. A pulse fired. It wasn't a beam, it was a sound. A deep, low vibration that spread across space like thunder underwater. Alien ships froze mid-flight. Their systems crashed. Their captains screamed as their controls failed. "It's disabling them," Chan yelled. "Without even touching them," Elena whispered. "It knows their language. ... It knows them." The Revenant was not just a weapon. It was a record of ancient war. Final machine from a forgotten empire designed to counter all known species. And now, it was human. The counterattack begins. Earth's warships moved behind the Revenant. Using its shield as cover, the alien fleet scattered in panic, but it was too late. The Revenant launched a new weapon one even human engineers didn't design. Blades of light, curving and homing like thinking creatures, tore through enemy ships like paper. "They're not missiles," Chan muttered. "They're hunters." No ship escaped. No message was sent back to warn others. On the ground, people across Earth watched in silence. Cities paused. Crowds gathered on rooftops and mountain edges to see the sky burn with flashes of war. Children pointed. Elders prayed. Some cried. Some cheered. The tourist town where the wreck had once rested. It was now a monument. The crater was empty, the walls scorched, but a statue had already been built. It read, "They ignored it. They feared it. We listened. And it chose us." Aftermath. The battle lasted 2 hours. Not one human ship was lost. The alien fleet was gone. Not even debris remained. The Revenant had absorbed their wreckage and grown from it. The Galactic Union sent a message afterward. A simple request. "We surrender. Name your terms." But Earth didn't reply. Not yet. Elena stood at the bridge, watching stars return to calm. She looked into the command core and asked quietly, "What are you?" A voice replied, not from speakers, but from her mind. "I am the last of the old ones, and now I am yours." Final scene. In deep space, beyond known sectors. Strange creatures enchant and forgotten watched the final battle. One turned to another. "They woke the Revenant." It said yes. The other replied, "And now, the galaxy will learn what humans truly are."